What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kierre, and this is Jason, and today we are here to review a film that we found streaming online called The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon Story. I don't remember where I actually found this one at now. Do you remember where you got yours?
I rented it on Amazon Prime.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I think I probably did the same on Amazon Prime. It's obviously The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon Story. I say we get right into it. I'm going to have you go ahead and take this one on, if you will, Jason. What is The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon Story all about, if it's not self-explanatory? So.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a documentary about it's a documentary directed by Scott Barber and Adam Sweeney about the story of Nickelodeon. Essentially, starting at the very, very beginning, covering a lot of material that I didn't personally know, how it originated, and became what is like just an indelible part of so many people's lives still. I hear the word Nickelodeon still today. I'm 43 in a couple of days, and just hearing the word Nickelodeon kind of makes me smile a little bit, because growing up, I have so many strong memories connected with that. Especially, I think the number one thing for me is Double Dare. I was obsessed with Double Dare when I was a kid. I would dream about being on that set and doing those challenges, and especially running that obstacle course at the end, reaching up that nose, sliding through that mouth, jumping in that vat of whipped cream, whatever they were doing. I wanted to be on Double Dare so bad. Never did, but so many other shows too. Like one of the early ones, You Can't Do That on Television. They go a lot into the history of You Can't Do That on Television, and that was one of my favorite shows in my life. Like I remember being really, I was pretty young when that was on. Like I was like 4 maybe or 5, and that was one of the first shows that I recognized the fact that I love this show. You know what I mean? And I think looking back, it really contributed to my love of absurd kind of surreal humor, And but there's so many others. Hey Dude, I really liked Hey Dude. Ren and Stimpy, of course. There are lots of shows, basically. So it's a really cool documentary. It doesn't break any molds necessarily. It's a pretty straightforward documentary. But it tells you a lot of stuff that you didn't know unless you have really researched the history of Nickelodeon and how it came to be. And it really gave me an appreciation of how that channel, it was kind of an outsider in a lot of ways. Their programming was all over the place, and that's the way they wanted it. It wasn't nothing against the Disney Channel, nothing against Disney Plus. I watched Disney Plus, but you didn't get the feeling with Nickelodeon that it had been massaged and shaped by suits all day long until it was churned out the other end, free of all errors or not going to offend anybody or anything like that. Because Nickelodeon, the programming was all over the place. They had some pretty far out stuff, I remember watching even when I was a kid, and thinking is that a joke that's supposed to be on a kid's show? You know what I mean? And that kind of made it more lively than something you would find on the Disney Channel, because it made it more of a complex experience growing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, as a documentary, it doesn't go outside of the lines very much. But it did tell me a lot of things. It did tell me a lot of things I didn't know. It gave me interviews with a lot of people that I hadn't seen in a very long time. And I enjoyed all the interviews with the not just the people behind the scenes, but also the actors, the directors of the shows themselves. And I even enjoyed watching the segments on the shows that came around kind of after I, kind of grew up a little bit, got into my teens and thought I was maybe a little too old to watch it. I even enjoyed that stuff, about Clarissa Explains It All, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Pete and Pete, all these shows that, by the time they came around, I wasn't really watching Nickelodeon anymore, but I was aware of it. I still enjoyed watching even that. So I think this would be enjoyable even as somebody who doesn't have that connection with Nickelodeon, but of course it helps if you did, which I definitely did. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. How about you?
Yeah, same here. Basically everything you pretty much said was right on the nose. Yeah, for me, like you said, it was the earlier stuff was a little bit more memorable for me, and I think that's the thing about the quote unquote orange years. It kind of depends on which age group you kind of follow in. So I'm in the same age group as you. We're the same age, and so for us, it was the earlier stuff that you can't do that on television. Carissa Explains It All. That was a big staple for me, and then obviously the Double Dare and super sloppy Double Dare and that sort of thing. So those were the films those were the shows that I really liked growing up and that I watched pretty much religiously. I watched Double Dare like almost every day it came on. You know what I mean? It was so much fun. Like you said, like watch people get slimed and running through stuff and trying to dig flags out of people's noses. And I remember that as a kid, I even kind of had thought about, potentially wanting to be on the show. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to go on the show, and they had like the family Double Dare. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool. We can go as a family. And I think I even remember asking my dad about it. And he was just like, yeah, that ain't for me. No, it's like a nice little time capsule. Like I said, I enjoyed Hey Dude and some of the earlier ones that were on there as well. And like you, the ones that came out later as I was becoming more of a teenager in the the 90s and that sort of thing, in the mid 90s. I didn't catch a lot of those ones. Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I had heard of a lot of those shows. I just personally Pete and Pete, and I just personally didn't all that, Keenan and Kel and those guys, and I'd seen a couple episodes here and there, but I was already a teenager, so I was already into other things, and really at that point, I feel like TV wasn't really a main focal point for me. I was either into video games or hanging out with friends and doing other things, so or movies, obviously, but I didn't gravitate to that much TV. I feel like, and like between about, I don't know, 15 and 18, I just didn't watch a whole lot of, shows like that. You know what I mean? There was a few sitcoms here and there that I watched, but it wasn't a whole lot. But yeah, so the latter stuff I didn't get, and I feel like that's kind of, you're going to fall into one or two camps when you're watching or one or three camps. You're going to be probably towards the beginning if you're about our age. If you're a few years younger, say like my brother's 4 years younger than me, he probably was more into all that, and Keenan and Kel and maybe Are You Afraid of the Dark? I don't know. I'd have to ask them. And then obviously then there's the people that either grew up way before or way after that those years. You know what I mean? That maybe aren't going to be as into it. Maybe it's just nostalgia for them, or maybe they just like seeing a really good documentary about that time capsule. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film, or a good documentary. I think they covered pretty much all the shows that I remember as a kid, growing up watching Nickelodeon Story. And then even the latter stuff that was really popular, like you said, like Ren and Stimpy. A lot of people watched that, and it was really popular. I just personally never watched a whole lot of it, but I do remember everybody really liking that show and some of the other ones. And then obviously everybody knows SpongeBob started there and then gravitated over towards MTV at some point, and that's covered in the doc as well. But everybody loves.
Oh, it's Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy went over.
I'm sorry, Ren and Stimpy.
MTV, which is where it belongs, really. I mean, Ren and Stimpy. I'm a huge Ren.
That's my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Ren and Stimpy fan, but they're pretty out there. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like very adult humor just kind of slyly put in there to where, like, I remember like when I was younger, watching it, and like I said, like I thought I got the joke, but I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I was too young for the joke, and that was like really like thrilling for me in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't find that on the Disney Channel is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So,
and a lot of the shows on that, because the Nickelodeon was really for kids, but even in the documentary, they cover that, the funny thing is that they were able to get away with a lot of things that really probably weren't kid related. You know what I mean? You can even argue SpongeBob in some ways had a lot of adult themes to it as well, But Ren and Stimpy definitely was definitely edgy, to say the least.
Oh yeah.
For Nickelodeon, and a lot of those shows really were, So like you said, it was kind of like not, it wasn't like kitty, you know what I mean? It was still probably if an adult was interested, they might be interested in watching some of those shows as well. So it was interesting in that capacity.
Yeah, it's not. Their programming wasn't cookie cutter or like factory press. You know what I mean? Like, and I never really thought about it when I was younger, but watching this documentary made me think, yeah, that's right. It wasn't really. It was wilder. It was more interesting.
Yeah, they were edgy, and like somebody said, it was a station. Obviously, adults and producers and stuff like that ran it, but it really felt like they really got kids' opinions on what type of shows they would want to see and what they thought was fun. And I thought that was really cool and unique that they did that. They actually went from a kid's perspective so that it wasn't so kiddie. You know, it was like the Disney Channel. You know, now they've got more adult type programming, but I remember back in the day, you know, Disney was like Mickey Mouse, and you know, once you got to a certain age, you just pretty much just stopped watching the Disney Channel because there wasn't really a whole lot of the shows on there. Where versus, you know, the Nickelodeon, you know, there was, you know, even from a young kid to, you know, like I said, early teens, preteens, teenagers, there were still shows. There was something for everybody on there. So,
yep,
cool. Well, anything else you wanted to add about the Orange Years?
Nope.
Cool. Well, yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I think.
You know, I would say that I wish they had put a little more Finders Keepers in there. I seem to be the only person who really remembers Finders Keepers.
I don't even remember. I remember hearing about that show, but I don't remember watching it. So yeah.
It was awesome. It was like the next best thing to Double Dare, I thought, as a kids game show, because the kids just got to, basically they had like a whole model house, like a 2-story house where it was like split in half to where it was like you were looking through the walls, you know, like a diagram. And they would hide stuff in the rooms, and they would have the rooms dressed like real rooms, and you would get to run from room to room and just like tear the rooms apart, like, you know, like break stuff, throw open drawers, and pull open, you know, throw dishes, just looking for what you were supposed to find. And I was like, man, that would be fun. But no one remembers it except me.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I think I do remember seeing it. I just never really probably didn't watch it enough to really to be staple like Double Dare was. But yeah, it's for sure.
Well,
Well, cool. Well, yeah. You know, I would definitely give this I'd probably give it at least a, you know, probably like a 3.5 out of 5. You know, like a B plus. So I'd give it a smile with some teeth. How about you, Jason?
Same thing. A little bit higher. I would give it a 4 out of 5, which is my B plus. It was real solid, good time. So that's face. You know, that was pretty much the look I had on my face during, especially the shows that I really remember fondly. You know, so yeah, super enjoyable.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for watching, and as always, we ask that you like, subscribe, let us know down in the comments. You know, have you seen the Orange Years or the Nickelodeon? What were some of your favorite shows? If you've seen the documentary, let us know if there's anything they missed or anything that you felt like should have been more expounded upon. And as always, like, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our updates. And we'll be back again with another show for you guys again real soon. We thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye. Cool.